Good morning, YouTubers. Reloading Bench back with you on this beautiful weekend morning. And it is going to be a gorgeous day. Going to be a little bit of a hottie out there. I think it's going to be close to 90 today. So we'll be hearing the air conditioning units kicking in. I was originally just going to make this video on one product, primers. And then I thought, well, a whole bunch came in and I went shopping and I had some ideas and I thought I'd kind of cram them all into one video, and maybe it'll result in a second video based on where I'm going with this particular product. So let me start with yesterday was a graduation that we attended. So after the graduation, I ran some errands and did a little shopping out of town to a store I don't normally get to, and that would be Sportsman's Warehouse. And it was nice to see they had powders. So they now have powders on the shelf. What was not nice to see were the prices, 35 to 50 bucks for a pound of powder, but you're not paying hazmat and you're not paying shipping. So potentially that could even things out. But the fact that powder was on the shelf was wonderful to see. And what was even better to see was there were primers that were sitting in the what I would call primer area. The bummer is you can only buy 2 sleeves, or as some people would say online, boxes. I don't call this a box, I call this a sleeve. A box to me is a brick of 1,000. So as you can see, the price was $5.71, which is better because that equates to roughly 6 cents a primer. Still ridiculously high, probably double what it should be, but it's a lot better than 10 cents or higher. And speaking of primers, I'm seeing primers online now. Powder Valley, I think, is a prime example. $79 for 1,000 Winchester, $89 for CCI, which is very positive for two reasons. In the sense that supply is coming back, not high enough or not saturated enough to drop the price down. I think the new norm, once things settle, and who knows, is that a year away? Is that 6 months away? Is that 2 years from now? Who knows? I think the new norm is going to be probably $50 for 1,000 primers, maybe 45. I don't think we'll see 40. So I know primers were getting at the 3 cents again when you factor in all the either local gun shop / hobby shop higher prices, hobby shop being Reloading, or online when you factor in shipping and handling as well as hazmat. So it was nice to see. $5.71. Limit was 2. I can remember a year ago, I think at Sportsman's, I think the limit was 1 a day. So we're getting better, but we're not quite there. I don't ever recall using Remington small pistols, so I'll give them a shot and see what's up. So while I was at Sportsman's Warehouse, I saw this, and I thought, okay, this is in, I think I opened it to take a peek at it. And then messed up the label. But this is in 6.5 millimeter Creedmoor. I do not have a overall length cartridge gauge, case gauge for chamber gauge for 6.5 millimeter Creedmoor. My first thought was, oh, it's brass, but it's not brass. If I was buying new case gauges, and this is why I keep desiccant in with my case gauges, I don't care how much I oil these things, you will see, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but they will begin to rust. Again, I don't care how much I oil, how many desiccant packs are in here to deal with moisture. It just doesn't matter. I think they help, but they don't prevent. So if I was going to buy a case gauge today, I've never had titanium nitride, which is what this is coated in. So you've got, it looks like a bluing on the inside as opposed to, just bare steel. And then you've got a titanium nitride coating on the outside. So I've never had this type of case gauge, so I thought I'd give it a try. It was reasonably priced, same price at Sportsman's Warehouse as it was online, which I think is cool, because I think Sportsman's Warehouse and a lot of other places are finally waking up to the fact that people are going to shop for low cost. So, you know, if you carry it in the store and you're not reasonable in your pricing, people are just going to go online. So this was the exact same price, say on the Rainforest or Midway. So I decided, all right, I'll pick it up, give it a try, see how it functions. So if I was to buy, and again, not knowing how this operates, thinking it was brass, meaning how it stands up over time. I know how it operates. You drop the case in there. I would only buy brass. I would pay the extra money. I think Ellie Wilson is now doing a line of brass. I would pay the premium for brass to eliminate the concern for the rusting factor that is going to happen over time. It's just going to happen. I don't care how diligent you are with your prevention. It's going to happen. It's just that simple. So I was also thinking of trying something different, because as you can see, I use old Lee cases to stack stuff in on my bench shelves. I was also thinking of a new idea that, you know, every time I have to break out a particular case gauge, I go and I look for it. And I have 3 or 4 of these that I find my case gauges in. Maybe it makes sense. And this is 223. I don't know where my... Actually, you know what I do? Since this is 6.5 Creedmoor, half a dozen of one, 6 of another. This is 223. So we'll do it with this. I would do the same thing with the Creedmoor. So, actually, no, this is not 223. This is... I think this is 223. Yeah, here's my 223. So my thought was, do a little combining. Does it make sense to keep the case gauge with the actual die set? So I'm gonna try that. I don't think there's room enough underneath. And again, depending on the size of the case gauge, this may not work. So this idea may only be valid for some case gauges. But it frees up room in other areas for potentially dumping a case gauge that won't fit. So maybe not. We'll see how it works. So that's that. All right, we're done with primers. We're done with case gauge. They had Hoppy's oil for same price as online. I picked one up because I love using my little, and I've lost the red rubber top here, but I love using this particular dispenser for tight to reach places, because this big old thing just doesn't do it, even though it's a tiny hole. Too much gets out. This is a more accurate and precise method for me and my uses, I guess. So that was another pickup. And then I think that's all for the... Is that everything for Sportsman's? Yeah, it wasn't a big Sportsman's Day in terms of expense or items, but just a couple of things. And then when I came home, this was waiting for me. So I had ordered this a while back. I think I have a couple videos out there on chambering issues with 223 that met all of the spec for SAMI spec in terms of case gauge, you know, fits in the case gauge, the brass length, the overall length, the primer, the powder, the bullet, no issues, but yet still difficult to chamber in certain rifles. And we went out shooting a while back, and that's what kind of initiated this. Was I had 2 different rifles. One was a Ruger #1, for those of you familiar with that particular drop. Gosh, it's escaping me what it's called now, in terms of how the case and the equivalent of the bolt are set. I want to say rolling / dropping bolt. But in any case, somebody will probably correct me and tell me I'm an idiot and don't know what I'm talking about. But the Ruger #1, these fed perfectly, no issue whatsoever. The bolt action Remington 700, some of these were tight, like tight as in almost couldn't get the bolt to close. So the fact that they meet spec and certain rifles are having more challenges, and more specifically from memory, the Henry lever action, I decided to pick up from RCBS a small base sizer, which actually sizes the base smaller than Sammy spec. So we are going to take this die and set it up. I saw these at Sportsman's Warehouse again as well. This was from my iron press purchase, my pickup, my iron press. And if you recall, it had two of these. It was a 3-pack. One of them was used for the powder measure, or I used one of them for the powder measure, and then I used one for 9mm. And I'm going to use this remaining bushing for this 223 small base and try these out in, and that's what may or may not make a second video. So the next video, if there is one, will be me setting this up in the iron press with the last bushing from the iron press purchase. And the bushings that were at Sportsman's Warehouse now are a 2-pack for $17, not a 3-pack. So I don't know if 3-pack is still a thing or 2-pack is the new 3-pack because of shrinkflation. Who knows? But in any case, I'm going to give this a try. And this is a steel die that was produced in late 2022, so relatively new. And that's kind of cool. So I said, if you've watched any of my other videos, especially on the green machines, RCBS used to stamp the year on the top of the die. And it looks like now you've got the identification RCBS 223 Remington, and then SB small base, and then it has 22. So that 22 corresponds with the year that it was produced. So they're still marking their dies, they're just marking them in different places apparently. So that's that. And that's about it for now until I set this up and have this working for the 223 for small base resizing, which then means I would bust out my Hornady case prep center to trim, chamfer, and deburr to get them down to the exact size that I need. And maybe I'll show that as well, because I can put this to good use. So 223 Remington, so I can use this as my gauge for setting up the correct height and pilot for the Hornady case prep center. All right, that's it for now. Later, more to come.